Prophecy Views. I'm Brian Barton. We have with us again today Papa, we call him Papa, Brother Mike Ray. And Mike is instructor with Purpose Institute. Today we're going to be talking about, we're going to basically dedicate this video today, Mike, with a topic of Bill Gates.
Yep.
And I'm wanting to break it up into a couple of segments if you'd work with me on it. Bill Gates, and then Bill Gates' mind, how he kind of thinks, if you'll kind of follow along with me in this. And I know you've got some stuff to share with us.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, if you would, give this video a thumbs up, like us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We really need to get our subscriptions up because that'll allow us to do some things that we have in mind in the very near future. So please subscribe to the channel. We need to get ourselves up over 1,000 subscribers. But the first thing we're going to lead off with today is an interview with CNN that Bill Gates had today. And this is a current today video that he had for an interview. And this is Bill Gates talking about, he's getting big into the vaccine world. Well, now he's talking about the testing with this CNN interview. The testing that has been going on has been garbage, and the results are garbage. So keep this in mind as you watch this video real quick. All of these numbers that we see on the number of people that have the virus or have had the virus, the death toll, we know that those numbers have been skewed. But let's just let Bill Gates tell you about these testing results.
Because you can't get the federal government to improve the testing because they just want to say how great it is. You know, I've said to them, look, have a CDC website that prioritizes who gets tested. That's trivial to do. They won't pay attention to that. I've said don't reimburse any test where the result goes back after 3 days. You're paying billions of dollars in this very inequitable way to get the most worthless test results of any country in the world.
And so I think that video pretty much speaks for itself. Now that's today.
Mm-hmm.
That is as current as it gets.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about this? All these numbers that we have seen on people that have the virus, have had the virus, it's just an astronomical number.
Yep.
We also, if I can throw this in there, I believe it was the governor of Ohio the other day that was tested positive for COVID. 3 or 4 hours later was tested again and tested negative.
But which test did they show?
Yeah.
Which,
and I don't know that it matters that they showed both. That would still show a 50% positive rate.
Yeah. The thing is, what bothers me is the CDC and the WHO. They are supposed to be the leading in the world. The experts, the expert. Yet the answers that we're getting are so convoluted from these two organizations that it surprises me. They're going in opposing directions. One says you got to do this, one says you got to do that. I've got specialists, doctors that are saying, some of them are saying that these masks are garbage. Some of them are saying you have to have them. Now Fauci's coming out and saying everybody needs to start wearing goggles. This is coming from the expert, the top in their field,
yes, yeah.
And they're all arguing with each other. And I'm thinking, what is going on?
And we see plenty of that just in general conversation as the day, just in our regular day as we talk to people. They'll quote you one thing and quote it as a fact that we need to be doing this. You talk to somebody else and they quote another interview
opposite
that they heard that was an exact opposite of that.
Yep.
And you see everybody wearing these blue, I wear them because I have to, these blue surgical face masks that you throw away.
Yep.
They don't fit tight around your face. There's holes on the side. There's holes up where your nose are and things like that. So it can't be a perfect thing anyways.
Yep. They showed a picture of a man that was doing drywall. He was sanding drywall. And he took his mask off and took a picture of his face. And you could see how it was coming in through the holes, even through the fiber, or through the mask itself.
Sure.
And coating his entire face.
And those
Particulates
are bigger.
Much
bigger.
larger. The masks, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm saying in my opinion, these masks do not protect you from COVID, but it does help reduce you from your particulates getting out of the mask onto somebody else. The only problem is that now you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide, you're breathing in your own bacteria. Now there's a threat of that. They're saying that if you don't start washing these masks or using new ones, you're talking about a threat of Legionnaire's disease and many other things.
And you know, the thing that I find alarming is, you know, we're a prophecy channel.
Yep.
And so one of the things that we are keeping an eye on is that they would use a situation like this to force government controls on people to eventually say, as Bill Gates has said, and we're going to get into it in just a little bit, but you've got to have this digital certificate. But the alarm bell that goes off in my mind is, and let's just take a look at this next tab here. Bill Gates, in this interview, again, just earlier today, the headline of this video is, "We'll be out of this pandemic by the end of next year." But they're talking, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but they're talking digital certificates of vaccine to show,
Yes.
so you can go to work, so you can go to school, so you can go to the store, so you can go to the mall, so you can go out in public. So they're using and I'll probably reiterate this again before this is over, but they're using a permanent fix
For a temporary.
for a temporary situation, temporary problem.
Yep. Why? Because they want control.
Did they have digital certificates back with the Spanish flu,
No.
Legionnaire's disease,
No.
polio? I bet you they
Polio.
had digital certificates for people that got a vaccine for polio.
What about smallpox? That when the smallpox outbreak happened, we didn't have nothing on that. We didn't have any registered for people who had smallpox or people who didn't.
They seem to survive it.
Yellow fever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there that is worse. If you look at worse, I mean, this is nothing compared to World War I, World War II, the Revolutionary War, the deaths from alcohol, deaths from automobile accidents, deaths from just about anything. This is very small compared to those.
Bring this headline up again on that, and I just find it fascinating that it's almost exactly what you just said. In one side of my mouth, I'm saying the test results are garbage.
Yep.
We just heard that from his mouth. Now CNN is not going to challenge him on that because they push this narrative of government control.
Yep.
And then we come right over to this next video, and if I remember right, both of these interviews were today.
Yep.
Both these interviews were today.
And these are not conservative viewpoints. These are actually liberal viewpoints.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Now there are a few people on the right that will support this, and it's typically the establishment Republicans.
Yes. They never Trumpers.
And I know this is probably going to end up being a little bit of a shorter video, but so the title of the entire video today is Bill Gates and Bill Gates' mind, the mind of Bill Gates. So let's take a little switch. So we know where we stand today. We've all been down this road for the last many months that has led us to where we are today. What direction are they going to try to turn us? Let's take a look at this, because all we can do is look at how Bill Gates' mind works from other things that he's suggested, and and just try to take a pretty good educated guess as to what direction he's going to take us.
Yep.
Now, before we do that, and just go ahead and leave that up. Go ahead and leave that up. Bill Gates is donating millions of dollars to the World Health Organization. I think you had.
388 million.
Was that to the World Health or was that to the vaccine?
I think, hold on. I think that is to the vaccine.
My point to that is,
Yeah, here it is. Novavax begins COVID-19 vaccine trials after $388 million funding from Bill Gates-backed organizations.
now on top of that, Bill Gates is, because we have backed out of the World Health Organization,
Yep.
Bill Gates has stepped in and has donated, I want to say it's at least 100 million.
Yeah, he's trying to make up for us.
So let's say he puts
Moving
in
out.
338 million here,
Mhm.
and let's say he puts in 100 million to the World Health Organization. All of the end result for him to say, we now have the vaccine, you need my vaccine to vaccinate the entire world, 7.6 billion people. That'd be a pretty small investment, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, and not only that, but he's actually saying, if you want my vaccine, you have to get a digital registration, some kind of a register.
So
to
let's go
prove
down that
you've been
road.
vaccinated.
Let's go down that road. So let's take a look at how Bill Gates' mind works now, so we can kind of take a gander from things he said. This is directly from the Bill Gates Foundation, the Gates Foundation. I shouldn't say Bill Gates, it's him and his wife's foundation. Now, the situation we're looking at is for people that have died and they want to do an autopsy on the body. They're afraid that the autopsy might, for lack of a better term, mutilate the body for the burial, before the viewing. However, when traditional autopsies are conducted, parents may be unable to preserve their child's body. So he's addressing the situation. Now, I want you to pay attention to this real close. Now, this is right off their website. To address this, our grantees pioneered the minimally invasive tissue sampling, MITS methodology. We believe MITS, when combined with other elements of a national surveillance system, can dramatically improve the accuracy of the investigation on the cause of death. This in turn will improve the aggregated data used by public health institution and industry. But he is going to pair tissue samples to national surveillance.
So they're wanting to spy on us?
And they're obviously wanting to, which they, if you pay attention, they already are. But
Oh,
they're
my.
wanting to save this data for who knows how long,
Yeah.
because they're going to need to go back and retrieve it.
Yep.
Because let's say you pass away on July 1st. Well, nobody knew you were going to pass away on July 1st when it was back in February.
Right.
So they're going to have to go back to February to go, okay, we have him here. We have him here. We're showing him here. We're showing him doing this on video. Maybe it was a street camera video.
Or maybe an ATM. He goes up to get money out of an ATM. The man before him was there touching the buttons, and maybe they bumped into each other or something, and they say, well, this man had coronavirus, now this one's got it. That's what they're trying to do.
But it doesn't even necessarily have to be a coronavirus related death,
No.
according to this. Anything they want to go back and look at the national surveillance, that's
Yeah.
scary.
Well, another thing we need to consider about Bill Gates is the fact that him and his wife are both globalists. They're for one world government. They're for wealth redistribution in the world. So you got to put that into play.
Now, in this particular paragraph, he's talking about national surveillance, but he's really put himself, with this coronavirus and the vaccine, he's put himself on the international stage.
Yes, he has.
And so I would almost guarantee that at some point in time he would turn this national surveillance into international surveillance.
It's all about control.
Each nation's surveillance of its
Yep.
people.
Yep.
And so I want to take a look at one more thing to get an idea of Bill Gates' mindset, the mind of Bill Gates. And we've already covered this. In fact, we also covered it in our last video, is about him wanting people to have a digital certificate. Now, if you look up Bill Gates talking about a digital certificate, all you're going to come up with for the first few pages is Snopes saying or fact check saying that it's false, he didn't say this. But they're really doing a play on words when they do this. Really what they're saying is Bill Gates has not said he wants to stick a microchip in you or an RFID chip in you. So they're really doing a play on words to try to show that it's false. But this comes directly from Bill Gates. And we've played this before. This is from his Reddit account. And so it's talking about what we're going to do, how we're going to know if people are chipped or not chipped. So he goes, eventually, or not chipped, I'm sorry, vaccinated. Or not vaccinated. Eventually, we will have some digital certificates to show who has recovered or who has been tested recently, or when we have a vaccine, who has received it. Now,
Tracking.
is this a digital vaccine certificate? This is a paper.
That's right.
So digital vaccine could be on your phone, potentially.
Be on your phone.
But right off the bat, within the first few months, if they even attempt that, they're going to run into people. I left my phone at home. My phone's in the car. My phone isn't working right.
Or there could be is using your social security number as a tracker. In other words, somebody questions you, you say, this is my social security number, and they look into the governmental system, and by golly, there's your digital certificate. That's one way.
Now,
There's multiple ways.
and the reason we bring this up, again, because we are a prophecy channel, in Revelation 13, it talks about the mark of the beast. That every man, rich or poor, free and bond, will be given a number without which he will not be able to buy or sell. Now, I am not saying that this exact certificate would be the mark of the beast. There cannot be a mark of the beast until the Antichrist is on the scene.
Right.
So there is no beast. What the Bible calls the beast is the Antichrist. So there isn't one. But this is definitely potentially leading to,
Precursor.
it's sending us down that road.
Yes.
And my question to you at home and to you, Mike, how close to the edge of this cliff are we willing to go?
Well, I tell you, it's almost like changing from one jacket to another jacket.
I saw, about 2 or 3 months ago, I saw an article that said 60% of the people in the United States would take a vaccine if it was available for the COVID-19.
And here's the thing that we were talking about just a minute ago, is you've got this vaccine that's going to come out and it's supposed to be a cure-all. No side effects, which I've never heard of any kind of a vaccine that doesn't have a side effect. But then you've got quinine tablets with a mixture of a few other drugs that's been around for 60-some years. And supposedly, according to some many experts and many doctors, that they have actually cured people using this mixture. And it doesn't cost hardly anything at all. It's been around for 65, 70 years. And but we want this new thing where Bill Gates is talking about, well, if we get this vaccine, we're going to have to start building factories to produce the vaccine for what, 5, 6, 7 billion people?
For something that we're going to be done with by the end of next year.
By the end of January of 21. Now here's the thing. Why? And this right here, is that it? I mean, I'm not wanting to be inhumane here, but is it about control? Is it about money?
Exactly.
Is it, what's going on?
Yeah, very good. So that's where we want to leave the Bill Gates situation. Now, we are monitoring this situation daily. We are keeping up with, we are very in tune with what Bill Gates is saying on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be gone for a couple of days, but that's not going to keep me out of the news, from keeping my nose in the news.
Yep.
I would like to lay the groundwork for another video that we can do. There's so much going on that we could almost do a couple of videos a day just to keep up with stuff. But there's a couple of things that I would like to lay the groundwork on for our next discussion, both of which have to do with the coronavirus itself.
Yep.
So we have a church the churches in California are on lockdown. You can go to the casinos, but you can't go to church.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the Supreme Court gave them a little precedence not too long ago that said the casinos, that the governors could do that. They can shut down churches and not the casinos. I would anticipate that probably coming back to them at some point.
Lawsuit.
Yeah, well, again, it's going to have to come back up to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Maybe with a different angle, I hope.
Yep, I hope.
But there's been a church in California that has defied the governor's orders of closing the churches, and he's got a pretty big mega church. I don't have all of the information to come to video on this, but I do have enough information to say this. This pastor, John MacArthur, he is facing legal action after openly defying California's restrictions on church gatherings. He has decided to just go ahead and have church.
Yep.
Now, I understand he had church today.
Yes,
and,
he did.
And I've heard some reports, and I want to verify them before we put them out there. But he has had church today. They are threatening him with $1,000 a day fine. Well, this is a pretty big mega church. I would say they could pay it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard today that when he opened his church service, he welcomed them to the peaceful protest,
Yes.
and they gave him a standing ovation because they were peacefully protesting. Now you don't have to worry about a mask.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
We definitely want to keep up with this situation. I want to add to that Trump sent his personal attorney to back this pastor John MacArthur after he defies the church restrictions. So Trump is not riding the fence on this. Did you pull that article up for us? Trump is putting skin in the game. He is sending his personal attorney to back Pastor John MacArthur.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
We haven't seen presidents do things like this.
No, and he gets very involved when he feels that excuse me, the people are violating the Constitution. Here's the thing. They're wanting to shut down a church. When in U.S. history have we ever shut down churches, period, for anything, for any reason? And then you turn around and you've got peaceful protesters by the thousands not wearing masks. Some are, some aren't.
Now, are you
You've
talking
got-
about the peaceful protesters that are spray painting and burning
No,
buildings?
no, I'm trying to be nice.
The actual
There
peaceful-
are some
okay.
people
I
that
just
are
wanted to get
peaceful
clarification.
protesters, but like I said the last time, mingled in with these peaceful protesters are what? There are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're burning, they're looting, they're threatening people. They're coming up behind people, innocent people, and punching them in the back of the head.
They're not social distancing
Oh
are
no! But you can shut a church down, a peaceful, law-abiding people,
they? And enforce it.
and enforce it. And I could go into history talking about how the attitude of law enforcement. If you go all the way back to Nero. Nero sent a general out. What about these Christians? Who are they? What are they? And the general comes back and he says, well, I don't see what you got a problem with these people. He said they're law-abiding. They believe in paying taxes. They believe in obeying the law of the land unless it violates their religious beliefs. He says, these people are nice. The man was executed because he disagreed with Nero.
Well, we're starting to see a lot of persecution for sure
Shoo
by
boy.
people that are siding with the Christians.
But shutting a church down in America never happened before.
I would also like to talk about mail-in voting.
Mail-in voting.
That is a constant fluid situation.
Yep.
We're going to be I would say by the time we go to video, we'll have all new information on stuff
Yes,
like that.
Yes, we
So-
need new up-to-date stuff.
All right. We appreciate you joining us today. Did you have anything else, Mike?
No, I'm good.
Thank you for joining us today. Please support this channel at prophecyviews.com. We really need your help, and we continue to put this information out so that people have easy access to it. God bless. Thank you for tuning in.